The Dead Rise. So I know about sort of this sort of thing. I've reviewed number one, I reviewed number two, and I reviewed number three. And realistically, I did know a bit about it because I like this series. I love number one. I think it's really good. And legitimately is one show where I'm like, one movie that I'm like, this, this is good. The idea with the story, the characters, it's fun. The second one I thought was as good. I know a lot of people said like there's definitely I think a nostalgia critic review which he said like the first one was like surprisingly good. The second one was just not as good. I've heard of something like that. But with this, I think was I still did like it. And the third one I think was really good. Alongside there is a reanimated one, which I also reviewed. But after the third one, I was like, is there going to be another one? And there was rumors of a fourth one. And I was excited because one, each one of the movie introduces a new. Because for me, one of my favorite things out of all of this is the monsters. Yes, that's my number one thing that I liked about the series is sort of like the monster angle. These sort of like creatures. The first one being like humans versus zombies, with one person being like, "Oh, there's something unique," and then you bring in werewolves, the other iconic monsters, and then aliens, and then this you have daywalkers and vampires. But again, I still do like it. I do find it interesting, and overall, I do find it interesting. Now, the one thing I am going to say, which I think is interesting, is besides the new group of like, here are the characters beforehand, here's Zed, here's like the other werewolves, wolves, and the aliens being like, here's us coming into the situation, this. It's very much, besides the songs, which legitimately some of the songs are like, these songs are legitimately good. It does have this sort of like, because when I was watching this, it's like, yeah, this feels very much like sort of Romeo and Juliet. Two sides fighting each other. Sort of, he did this, they did that, and trying to end a bit better how Romeo and Juliet is, which is basically you don't have two people dead. But it is a bit similar to the first one, which is basically two people finding each other on not as hostile, legitimately the daywalkers and the vampires legitimately have like beef, while the zombies kind of just exist, and the humans kind of find them scary. In the first one, they kind of have a thing, but it's not really as aggressive as the daywalkers and the vampires. And they legitimately are like, "Oh, it's you," and I find it interesting. Um, there's also a couple of like because both groups, one person from each group is discovered by the other group. They have a song of like, "Oh, the day walks like this and the night walks like this," which I find is a fun idea to like introduce. It is a fun idea of like, again, spoilers, two stones getting split and then given, and it's no, it's one stone. I have, if you look at this, it's kind of a hint because in the end of three, there was kind of a hint towards, oh, and then we all came together. Oh, and vampires came here. Oh, and mermaids are now here. So those two things are in artwork that's in Disney Zombies 3. And in this one, there was this water effect that's near the end. Now, here's, I'm not going to put, this is not going to be like look at the credits, there's a time stuff. Here's a thing that I'm going to be like putting on a theory cap that I think the next monster that might be introduced. I'm not going to say if it's mermaids or sirens Because especially when if you look at Nikobe and the new game, he's sort of like Let's Play, and I definitely want Let's Play, which is like The Mermaid's Tale, where it's like there's a correlation between mermaids and sirens. I'm not going to go into that because I don't know much about. I know about the Little Mermaid mermaids, and I know a bit about the sirens, a little bit about like them calling sailors and like what sailors supposedly like. There was supposedly stories of like sailors dying at sea. I don't know, true or false. That's besides the point. This is me going into this universe, not the truth. One thing which I think is going to happen is all these mermaids will be introduced because the water, and again at the end of 3, they talk about here getting mermaids accepted and allowed in. Now, having all of that being said, where else would you go? Because that's a good argument, but there's not many creatures left. Because if you look at traditional sort of like monsters that are used in like that have been used, because all of these are sort of traditional aliens, werewolves, vampires, zombies. You don't have much else. Think I don't think they're gonna do, because if you go with I don't. It's not Ever After. It's the same people made Ever High that did like a monster version, and they have like a Frankenstein. You can still do ghosts, but that even the zombies are implied of having a mutation rather than being dead as zombies traditionally are. So I think like ghosts, skeletons, or any other like I think mummies maybe could be a thing. There could be an argument of mutation like the zombies are. But I think that because you could go with other ones like sort of like minotaurs, but I think mermaids is the next logical step. It's definitely that you introduce mermaids in one of the previous ones. So yeah, I definitely like this movie because it definitely brings in a new point. Because the characters that we've been dealing with through the last 3 movies, I think have gone through a fun arc. And I definitely think they had like a very interesting sort of like development. Definitely when you have some legitimately, I think, non-canonical parts of the story, because it's like time travel, redo. I don't know. So I don't know if it's canonical, but it could be, and it could be similar themings. They do lessons that they did in like reanimated. I don't think this one, but I think is really good. I think it is a fun idea, but I think bringing in 2 others could be an interesting idea. And having them being 2 people who are actually strong. Because I said before, there's a difference between this one and this one. And I think one of the examples is one is zombies who have strength, agility, and all this stuff, versus humans, which which is not fair. It's like it's like me being like, so who am I going to fight? Mike Tyson. It's like that's not a fair fight in any degree. I don't box, and he's a professional boxer. You know what I mean? Whilst these 2 are 2 creatures on equal footing. But yeah. And next, mice and murder is going to be next. That's going to be a fun one. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you like this video. This is going to be tomorrow rather than being a second video in the same day. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. I hope you like this video of me having another video the same day of me theorizing over something. But yeah, I am excited. So like, follow, comment, and yeah. Good night.